Good evening, guys. This is Bathrobe Business. I'm Georgi Oganov. I actually have decaf coffee and I have the news. So, for the six people that watch this channel, you've probably missed me. Maybe not. Maybe you just hate watch. But I've been gone for a while. I think my last post, my last video was on the 23rd of December. I've not had a post since then. Now, when I signed off, I said because of Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and then some traveling I was doing around New Year's, it was going to be definitely the last video of the week and possibly the year. So that's not surprising. However, it's already January 13th, and I am just doing my first video now. It's been kind of a tumultuous couple of weeks. We had a death in the family. It was somewhat unexpected and tragic, as any death always is. And then on top of that, work has been insane. I actually moved offices from one part of the building to the other. Had to get my new office set up. We had people that were sick, new hires, fires, etc., and life goes on. However, in addition, with the start of the new year, it was kind of been my plan for a while to kind of change things up in my personal life. And part of that was going to revolve around this channel, obviously, because for the last almost 2 years, I started this channel January 1st, 2023. Now, I didn't post consistently in that year of 2023. I took probably like 6 months off and then came back in the fall. So it's not quite a full 2 years. It's closer to being a year and a half. But still, for the last close to 2 years, year and a half, I've been doing this channel, doing posts practically every day, unless it's just a really boring news day. However, changes in my personal life, getting married, looking to start a family, all that stuff, I'm gonna have to revamp my my work schedule a little bit. And gone are the days of bachelor life where I could just wake up in the morning, do the video, go to work, go to the gym, come home, go to sleep. Um, so this channel is probably going to change a little bit. This is probably going to become an evening channel. It's probably also going to change its name because one of the reasons called Bathrobe Business, because literally since college, I would wake up. It was literally freshman year of college. I think it started on day one. I woke up, I made some coffee, I turned on financial news or just the news in general, yelled at the TV, and that was been my routine for going on, I don't know, decade and a half now. And it was 2 years. It was 15 years into it that I realized maybe I should start a YouTube channel after doing that quietly in my own home for that long. But now it's probably going to change into an evening channel. I probably will not be in a bathrobe anymore. It probably won't be called Bathrobe Business. I'm not sure. That part I'm going to figure out. The channel is definitely going to evolve. It's going to change, and it's going to be post market closure news versus pre-market closure news. So the stories you missed out on during the day rather than the stories you need to hear in the day. Now, every now and then, I'm sure I'm going to do a morning post. I'm sure I'm going to, have evenings where I don't post anything. But there's definitely going to be changes coming to the channel. And so today is the first time I'm posting an evening post. I think the entire history of this channel, more or less. And so welcome to the new Bathrobe Business. I hope you guys stick with me. I hope you find it interesting. Like I said, I don't get many views, but the few of you that watch and comment, I always appreciate. So without any further ado, let's get into the news. So we're going to talk about a couple different things. Again, I'm a little rusty coming back into this. So, I mean, since I've been gone, we had a very strong jobs report. So I'm probably going to share that tab first. So give me 1 second. So jobs report came out Friday, caused treasury yields to serve, astronomically. 5% isn't small. Very strong jobs report in December of 256,000 new jobs in December. Now, mind you, there is a lot of seasonality to this, but as we've talked about on this channel, retail has been incredibly strong. We're talking traditional brick and mortar. Obviously, online retail, e-commerce is the new standard. However, traditional brick and mortars have been doing great since the start of the third quarter. If I had a couple amazing trades earlier this year that I did, and I shared with you guys on this channel in regards to retail. I'm not sharing my window. Okay. So anyway, back to it. We had some amazing numbers coming out of retail, and really we haven't even seen a lot of the earnings reports come out on those yet. but this is no surprise. So there is some seasonality into this 256,000 jobs, but still, you could attribute to maybe a 30% haircut, 40% haircut. Overall is a very, very strong jobs number. Now, this has scared the market because they're assuming that there's not going to be as many rate cuts. If you know me, I'm very hawkish on rates. I think they should be higher for longer. And so I don't think there will be rate cuts. I think there is going to be powerful inflationary pressure with these jobs. There shouldn't have been rate cuts to begin with. If you watch my channel, I've outlined exactly why I think that is. But they pushed them through anyway. So I don't think there's going to be as many rate cuts. The Fed has signaled that with the dot plot already. But furthermore, I'm going to get later on to this video of why I think the rate cuts are not going to happen, and we're going to see powerful inflationary pressure. Next story I want to talk about is China. So I'm going to jump into this story from Bloomberg. So this story actually came out January 7th when I was planning to kind of come back into it, but didn't actually happen. However, this story is talking about markets sounded the alarm over China's deflationary spiral. Now, China's been in a deflationary market for, I'm not going to call it a spiral, but in a deflationary cycle for the better part of 2024. There was massive stimulus that came about with Xi Jinping trying to re-stimulate the economy in order to keep it from plummeting further. However, now this article does a lot of things. It's drawing a comparison between China and Japan, which is absolutely ludicrous. One of the things that caused Japan to enter a deflationary market was an overproduction of debt. So, I mean, they printed money like no other. They had powerful real estate inflation. They used that money to go out and purchase other businesses in other countries. This was the Japanese invasion. And then eventually the chickens came home to roost and the market collapsed. China is not doing that. China does not operate the same way Japan does. China does not primarily make their money through a print and debt system. Quite the opposite. They deflate their currency. They don't inflate it. If China wants to, they can stabilize their currency, but it will be at the cost of their manufacturing, obviously. But to say that China is in the same economic environment as Japan is just simply being naive. In addition, China is bolstered by a manufacturing that we have not seen since post-World War II here in the Americas. They are a production powerhouse, and that's not changing. Because despite the fact of everything happening between the US and China, despite the tariffs that are already in place, despite the tariffs that are probably going to go into place under the Trump administration, China did phenomenal last year. So exports from China to the United States increased another 5% year over year. There were nearly 6 trillion total. For the month of December, they're saying because of anticipated tariffs from the Trump administration, it actually rose 10.7% year to year, December to December. In addition, that stimulus package I mentioned that Xi Jinping passed at the beginning of 2024, it was successful. So in addition to the powerful trade, their economy grew by 5%. We don't see those kinds of numbers here. Why I bring this up is I try to keep this channel obviously focused on the United States and United States economies, United States stock market, all that stuff. But the problem is China is just too big to ignore. And so I feel like I have to mention it because we have this unhealthy environment in a relationship between China. And we either treat it like a paper tiger or we treat them as the most powerful empire in the world. And virtue lies between extremes. So why I highlight this is if the news is telling you that China is about to collapse, it probably means China's doing really well. And if the news is telling you that China's doing really well, it's probably on the verge of collapse. So I just draw this to be kind of the devil's advocate and to tell you that despite what they're saying, it's probably not that bad with China. There will probably be tariffs that go into effect, but don't forget that the Trump administration uses tariffs, or I should say threats of tariffs, in order to negotiate geopolitically. It's not a bad strategy. Trump may not be the most eloquent with it, but it is kind of a traditional strategy that existed pre-World War II. Economics and politics always went hand in hand. They do still to this day. It's just it's usually more cloak and dagger. Trump is very upfront with it. Let's not forget that the Biden administration passed probably the highest tariffs we've seen against China in our entire history. So, like I said, China's all administrations do this from time to time. It's just Trump is a little bit more upfront with it. Last thing I'm going to talk about is the LA wildfires. There's no real article that I can use to reference, so all I will reference is this tab right here. So I just did a preliminary search of what is the estimated cost of the damage done in California. So it's estimated to be between about 135 billion to 150 billion. So there's a lot that can be said about the LA wildfires. The only thing I'm going to add that hasn't been mentioned is this is going to be a powerful inflationary pressure. There's going to be people that leave California for this. And when they leave, they're going to take, if they got their insurance payouts, they'll take their insurance payouts and go somewhere else and buy homes for cash. If they don't have their insurance payouts, they can still sell, take that money and go out of California, buy homes in cash. So you're going to see an exodus kind of similar to what happened with COVID. And as we saw during COVID, that drove the housing market up. So you're going to see people migrating, obviously, to Texas. Austin is going to be very welcoming as they overproduce housing and they've been in a deflationary cycle on housing. So Austin is probably going to absorb a good brunt of this, but also as other states, us in Utah, Idaho, Montana, Arizona, Las Vegas. These are going to be inflationary moves. They're going to come in with all cash offers and inflate the housing market, which means housing costs are going to go up. So I don't see rate cuts cutting. However, even those that stay in California, they're going to see inflationary cycles as well, because in order to rebuild $135 billion, you need to lure people into there. There's not enough people working in LA County to rebuild half the city. So there's going to be people migrating from all across the United States, and the way to get them to migrate is to offer higher wages. There's going to be a deficit of materials because we have to rebuild an entire city. Now, this is good for overall GDP numbers, but it's definitely going to be a powerful inflationary cycle that's going to affect housing, which is obviously going to affect interest rates. It's going to affect supply chains specifically tied to housing construction. So you're going to see copper, aluminum, lumber, probably stones like gypsum and things like that, all going up in price. And lastly, I think oil is going to follow in suit. I think that oil prices are going to escalate because the amount of energy that's going to be necessary to rebuild all this is going to be massive. So that's my prediction for the next 6 months. I would say probably starting in Q2, because I think a lot of this is going to be reeling for the next month or two. But starting at the tail end of Q1 and into Q2, we're going to see some powerful inflationary cycles coming in. That's not surprising if you listen to this channel often. I talk about how inflation is kind of baked in. We played that video from Paul Tudor Jones that had an amazing analysis on what's going to happen with inflation, regardless of who's president. And I think he's absolutely right. And I think this is going to follow. That's pretty much it. So those are the stories of the day. I will see you guys back here probably tomorrow evening as this channel gets revamped and we enter kind of a new flow. So I hope you guys have a good evening and a productive Tuesday tomorrow. Bye.